morning and welcome to Hello Westchester here on WCHG every Monday from 11:30 to noon. I'm Eric Lambera, joined by Cara Corridoni, publisher of Hello Westchester, which releases every Friday. You can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. How are you this morning, Cara?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing well. Good to talk to you again. So a lot of stuff in the news as usual. We'll start off with talking about the budget. So neither the federal government nor the state government here in Pennsylvania has a budget. Pressures are starting to hit home.
Yeah, this actually kind of unraveled in real time last week. And obviously we've heard a lot about the budget's impasses on both the federal and the state level. But so far, it kind of seems like it's at the federal and the state level, and you haven't really seen much here that I've reported on. But last week, I was out at the Westchester Area Senior Center. I was going to take an exercise class at their center there as part of a 50th anniversary profile I was going to do on the center. And it was interesting while I was there, actually kind of started learning about some financial concerns that they've had lately. And this is kind of stemming from the state budget. So obviously the state of Pennsylvania does not have a budget. It hasn't had a budget for a while. And the reality of that is really starting to hit home. And one of the agencies that's being hit is the Chester County Department of Aging, which is funded by the State Department of Aging. And they had been making some payments, but the state budget has stopped making payments to the county. The county is continuing to send out checks, but they are not the full amount. And so the County Department of Aging actually supports the area senior centers. So there's 6 county senior centers, and they support those. They have been sending 75% of what they normally would send. So that's a 25% reduction that the senior centers have received for October. That will likely continue for November. But, obviously we don't know how long the county can continue to make payments if they do not get any funds to replenish those. So that is putting everything up in limbo. The county does have a contract with the area senior centers, and those end at the end of the year. And as of yet, they have not renewed any of the contracts, which is making everybody a little bit nervous over at the senior center. The county, for their part, says they're fully expect to renew the contracts, but they are hesitant to do so without knowing what kind of money they can expect from this budget. And since they don't have a budget for next year, they don't know what that looks like. So anyway, it's just putting a lot of angst in the air. And it's kind of a twofold. So I was there for this profile, and the senior center in itself is a great little institution in Westchester. It was very active. There was a lot of people there. I took a 9 a.m. exercise class, and it was quite a engaging class. We were bopping and moving and lifting weights, and kind of everybody all over the place, well attended, 20, 30 people. There was about about half a dozen other activities going on at the same time. They were getting ready for their biweekly bingo game. There is a corner cupboard, which allows seniors to access food free of cost. This is supplemented by the Westchester Food Cover and the Chester County Food Bank. It's a nice, useful tool a lot of seniors were taking advantage of, many of whom are living below the poverty level. There was also a German club going on. There's a free breakfast. So a lot of going on at this the center. They serve around 18,000 seniors last year. They welcomed. So very robust center. And after serving for 50 years, it's kind of, sad to see that they're in this predicament when they're facing some severe budget cuts and concerned about their future. So they have a fundraiser coming up, which will help get cushion. But obviously, they still are reliant on state funds and indirectly federal funds. And so we had the senior center and kind of this look at where they're currently standing and how they're kind of anxious. Well, they're not the only ones feeling pressure. The area food banks are also getting hit by this. And they have a couple of big deadlines coming up that they're kind of watching. For the Chester County Food Bank, one of the big deadlines looming is November 1st. That is when SNAP benefits end in the state of Pennsylvania. So let me pull up my figures for you here. But so more than 2 million Pennsylvanians, including 29,000 in Chester County, relied on food assistance each month. That is SNAP, what it's called, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. All that funding is set to end on the 2nd if there is no federal budget. And so this is going to be a really big lift for the food banks to pick up. And to kind of put it in perspective, and, you think about it, but you don't realize how big. I found this fact from the state of Pennsylvania, and it says SNAP provides 9 meals for every 1 meal provided by a charitable network. So for all the work that the Chester County Food Bank and the Westchester Food Cupboard does, and they're great organizations, they do so much, to think that's only 1/9 of what is being done by SNAP and what they will have to pick up should those benefits end, it really is a daunting task for a lot of people, for them. And to kind of add to that pressure, without the state budget, the Chester County Food Bank reports they're also losing $100,000 in state funding every month. That money they use to buy milk, eggs, and produce, often from local farmers. So that doubles the impact of that loss. So not only are we losing it directly to the shelves of the food bank, which is going out to people, members of our community who need food assistance, we also have local farmers that are losing out all those purchases. So just kind of a couple of crunch points. Things are starting to go from theoretical of this is what's going on a national level to really kind of this is how it's hitting home and how it's impacting. There are ways you can help, obviously. So if you are concerned or would like to help, obviously you can donate to the Chester County Food Bank. They're gladly collecting. Most needed items include canned protein, canned veggies, canned prepared meals, pasta, and canned soups. You can also donate to the Westchester Food Cupboard. They are looking for non-perishable food items and personal care items. They collect all of those, but they're also kind of encourage monetary donations because they can use those coupled with their buying power to get even more, just go a little bit further. So just a couple of ways, and maybe just support some people and some organizations while we get over what is hopefully a short-term hiccup here. I don't know what to call it. But anyway, let's, as hopefully the politicians out there and our representatives, push forward and get somewhere on both of these looming problems. But yeah, so just a couple of things to see how these things have real effect on a local level.
Yeah, it is definitely having an effect, as you mentioned, and we already heard earlier this year with some of the grants with the food bank. That's already been a sticking point as well. The food banks have been hit hard this year. Yeah, several different ways that they're already losing some funding, and now it's just another hit. So we did actually, while I was at the senior center, our Congresswoman Chrissy Houlihan showed up, and she met with members of the center as well as the staff and kind of answered some questions about what's going on at the government at the national level, the federal government level, and how they're hopefully working towards a compromise somewhere. Yeah, fingers crossed on both, as you mentioned, the local as well as the federal government, because that is still shut down. I think it's within the 20 days, 27 days, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're moving into week number 4. 27 days would be week 4.
Yep. So fingers crossed we'll be able to find a resolution and obviously having a big effect locally. Let's turn our attention to Westchester University. And I know that the president just had her fall address.
She did, yes. So last, I guess a week ago Friday. So within the last 10 days or so, Westchester University President Lori Bernowski She met with faculty, staff, and some students at the stage of the Emil Asplund Concert Hall for her annual fall address. She took a slightly different approach than some presidents in the past. This was a little more TED Talk than traditional speech. She had her bottle of water, and she was walking the stage with a few PowerPoints behind her. But in general, she was laying out her plan to turn Westchester University from what she calls almost awesome to awesome. And she has a pretty complicated plan on how she wants to do this, but it's really kind of leveling up on what the university already does that is very good. She talked about the research programs, and one of the things that she really highlighted was experiential learning. This is an idea that the students get a chance to experience careers before they head out into the workplace, and it was deemed valuable not only by students that had previously done it and educators, but also by employers who have hired students that have been able to take advantage in these programs. So while they do a lot of it and they do it well, it is not currently available to every student at Westchester. And so one of her ideas is to expand that and to make that possible for every student. And there's a couple of reasons why it's not currently available to every student. One is scope. They don't have enough of it for everyone. And the other big problem is not all students are financially able to take advantage of these things. Sometimes if you are working multiple jobs and trying to finish your academic career, trying to add in one more thing that, may or may not be paid, can be a difficult decision, and some students can't take advantage of. So they want to fix that. And she said they're already working on fundraising, so that will hopefully help with the monetary piece. The second piece is looking at scope. But anyway, she tasked all the people in attendance and the whole Westchester community to think about how they can work to be better, think bigger, and foster moments. And then she kind of tasked that each individual person come up with an action plan for themselves on those 3 items and send it over to her. And she's going to cull it all together, work a little magic, I suppose, and then put it together for a final action plan, which they hope to take advantage of starting in the summer of 2026.
Now, as far as her address, I know something that we've talked about quite a bit is the housing situation. Is that something she touched on a bit?
She touched on it, but that's about it all. She did speak up about it. She didn't list it as the university's number one challenge, and she said that they are working on it. She mentioned the work on South Campus, where they are working to expand the South Campus apartments to add more housing there, and that is underway. And she said they had a plan, but that was about it. While she was speaking, also going last week was a community meeting with some neighbors around the College Arms site, which we did talk about previously. What they like to kind of raise what is currently at the College Arms site, which is the corner of South High Street and Rosedale, right there. They want to wipe all that out and add more student housing for additional 300 students, I believe, as well as the Welcome Center and some retail. The retail will kind of replace what's there currently. The idea is mixed so far. It seems those in the general Westchester area like it. They seem it is kind of supportive. But neighbors in that area do not, and they are mobilizing from what I've heard. And they've got some council members on their side at this point. So we'll see what happens with that plan. She didn't mention it or talk about it directly, but we do know that's in the works as well.
Yep. So it'll be something to follow as far as the College Arms, the reimagining plan, and Welcome Center. A lot of stuff going on at Westchester.
A lot of stuff there. Lori Bronowski is just tackling some stuff in her first 2 years here as president.
Very ambitious for sure. So, listeners, we're in the middle of the show. We're at 11:45. We're going to take a quick break, and we're back on the other side with much more. So stick with us, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Hello Westchester. I'm Eric Lambera, joined by Cara Corridoni, publisher of Hello Westchester. You can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. So before we get to some of the quick updates, I know we had a fall season, postseason recap.
Yeah, sports. So it's it's been really nice fall weather out there, so I thought maybe we highlight what's going on the field around Westchester. There's some area teams making some plays this year. So as we head into the fall, actually we're in the middle of the fall sports postseason recap. There's a couple of things going on. So we have boys soccer. We have two teams that are still playing. Both in is Ruston. Ruston came in as a 2 seed in the D1 3A championship, soccer championship, and they have won. They beat Strathaven 2-1, and they now face Lower Moreland on Monday, and that winner will advance to the district finals match. So doing well there. Also doing really well is Henderson boys soccer team. They're in D1 4A division, and they came in as the number 1 seed. So they had a bye last Tuesday, but then they came back with a 1-0 win over Neshaminy on Thursday and a 2-1 overtime victory over Great Valley on Saturday. Chase Retner with the game-winning score there in overtime. Always a good matchup between those two schools. Well, they are back at it on Tuesday. They'll play Haverford. I believe that's at home. And that will, if they win, they have a chance to advance to the final. So a lot of good play coming out of Westchester there. And speaking of soccer, it's not just the boys. The Ruston girls team is also making waves here. They are on the D1 3A girls side of the tournament, and they also came in as the number 2 seed. They cruised in their first match with a 2-1 victory over 8-seeded Pencrest on Thursday. Natalie Duffy scored twice for them, so good for her. And now they're going to face Strathaven on Monday night, and if they win that, they also advance to the finals. So unfortunately, Henderson girls made the tournament. They got themselves a first-round win over North Penn, but were eliminated last week, so they're out. Field hockey, they're all done. They're out. But we have girls volleyball is still in. We got Ruston playing. They came in as the number 2 seed, and they swept Strathaven 3-0 in their first round of the D1 3A volleyball tournament. They were led by Ava Thriller. I don't know how to pronounce that, but she's rolling. She helped them in their first round, and then she helped them in their second round win where they put away Marion Mercy, also in 3 sets. And she set herself a record of 500 kills, or past that milestone, so good. Congratulations to Ava. Also in that game, Lily Greenwood recorded her 250 at the block, so the Golden Knights are cruising over there in the volleyball world, and they will face Pope John Paul on Thursday night for the district title. So they're in the championship game on that. So, so just some good play from some area teams. More to watch this week, and we'll see who can advance to the finals and beyond.
Shout out to our local athletes.
Exactly.
So a lot of success. Love to see that. Let's go over to some of our quick updates. The first being a no news update on the Airport Road Post Office. Yeah.
Normally you wouldn't say there's much to say about no news, but in a world where we haven't heard anything about this poor Airport Road Post Office in about a year, it was something. So last week, U.S. Representative Chrissy Houlihan wrote in and shared with the Daily Local News an update saying that she has had no update from the U.S. Postal Service on what's going on with the airport road location after she was told last October that they were not selling the building. But she did report that her team showed up this summer to check it out and found the property to be an eyesore. There were overflowing trash bins, foot-high grass, overgrown shrubs and weeds everywhere, according to her report. She said they spent the day cleaning up the property, and while they were there, they discovered a sinkhole that was covered by rotting plywood and a buried fire hydrant, both very serious public safety concerns. She reported those. They did make a follow-up visit in September. It doesn't sound like it was quite as bad in September, but she is admitting this is a frustrating and unacceptable situation, and that she will continue to press for a clear plan to restore service to the community. So not much of an update, but it is an update. So at least somebody is keeping an eye on the problem, and hopefully we will eventually someday get an answer to what's going on and what the plan is for the postal service in the area.
Hoping to get more information, but as you mentioned, have to applaud our local representatives for at least making an effort.
And staying on it, yeah.
Yep, staying on top of that. So that was Airport Road Post Office. Let's go next to Porch Bakery in the borough.
Yeah. So we've shared this before. Lulu's Bread and Bakery. Alex Geyser opened a little bakery on her Minor Street porch. And, well, it turns out that's not allowed. The borough received a few complaints from neighbors regarding traffic, I guess, during pickup of the bread sales. And she was told she was going to have to stop. You can run a business out of your home in Westchester, but you can't have any sort of foot traffic. So it can't be noticeable, anything over what you would see in a normal house. So I guess when those pickups came, somebody complained. So she has to shut it down. She is going to continue to make her bread and sell it. So if you're interested, follow her on Instagram or Facebook, and you can sign up for her subscription service. And she is making deliveries. I got myself a loaf on Friday. It was very good. But it will not be at her house, so you'll have to arrange a pickup location.
Yeah, and I know we mentioned that, I think it was last week or right before that, so sad to see that, but at least she's committed to continuing to bake.
Exactly.
So that was Lulu's Bread and Bakery, so closed, but fortunately, as Cara mentioned, still wants to share, so keep a lookout for that. Third story we have for quick updates, PennDOT's replacing a bridge in East Bradford Township. What's going on here? Yeah,
so if you've been out to Downingtown the last couple of months, you may have already noticed this, but Boot Road is closed between Quarry Road and Southwind Lane. This is part of PennDOT's project to replace the bridge that carries Boot Road over the SEPTA's Paoli-Thorndale line. It's a $13.3 million project, and it revolves removing and replacing the current bridge with a shorter single-span overpass and working to improve traffic flow and safety along both approaching roadways over that bridge. And that includes widening the road. It should be a benefit when it's done, but it is going to take a little while. So you expect that road to be closed for at least a year. So you need to find an alternative there, which your alternatives are US 322, US 30, or the Quarry Road. So.
Yep, and as Cara mentioned, $13.3 million project involves removing and replacing the current bridge with a shorter single-span overpass and improving traffic flow. So that'll be out for about a year, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So that was our third story. Let's go to number 4. Cooper Smith Park Pavilion closed for the season.
Yep. So this is the West Goshen Cooper Smith Park. They have a pavilion out there, obviously good for events, covered space. Unfortunately, they found out last week there was a structural engineering problem. A report found some deterioration in the support post. So in an abundance of caution, they've decided to close it off. So it's cordoned off, and it will be remained closed until repairs can be made. The township does apologize for any inconvenience, but they do want to get that addressed before somebody was to be accidentally hurt.
Was this open year-round before that, or?
No, I think that's a good point. It was likely going to close soon. Okay. I think usually the parks close within the next couple of weeks for the season anyway. It starts to
get a little colder, yeah.
Yeah.
So Cooper Smith Park Pavilion closing a little bit earlier than expected. And then finally, Westchester University's nursing program hit a big milestone this year. So going back to the university.
Yes, always. I feel like we're always going back to the university. 50 years of healing for the Westchester University nursing program. They held a golden anniversary celebration on Saturday over at the SCC ballroom. They had nurses, past, present, and future out, as well as the general public. And they marked it with kind of a tour of their Dewey Immersive Learning Center, which has really helped improve the program, as well as a retrospective on nursing over the last 50 years. Students were there to talk to people, and there were some presentations from alumni and faculty who have worked in that program. So congratulations to them on 50 years.
Here's to 50 more.
Exactly.
So the Westchester University's nursing program celebrates 50 years of healing. And let's go next. We have a few minutes left let's look ahead to some of the upcoming events. And I know we have a few things coming up for Halloween this weekend, right?
Yes. So obviously it is Halloween week. So we're just going to hop right to Halloween. On Friday, Halloween night, there will be trick-or-treating in the borough. Official trick-or-treating hours are 6 to 8 p.m. So if you are participating, turn your light on. That's how it works. Before trick-or-treating begins, Everhart Park is holding a mini Everhart Park Halloween parade. It starts at 5:45. Participants are encouraged to come in costume, and they march through the park. There's a band that kind of leads them. It's a little fun event before trick-or-treating begins. This is really a great event for little ones. So if you have toddlers who probably aren't going to make it through too much trick-or-treating, this is kind of a fun way to start the night with them. So this is the second year, I believe, they've done it, and we saw it last year. It was cute, and it was actually pretty well attended. If you don't have a toddler and you're a little bit on the older side, another fun tradition for Halloween night is the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the movie. So Uptown Theater is showing this on Halloween night. They do it every year, or they have for the last few years. It's the full interactive experience. I personally have never been, so I don't exactly know how it works. But if you've gone and you dress up, you bring props, you do the thing. Tickets are $15 if you want to go and take a part of that.
Yep, lots of stuff going on. That's
yeah.
for sure.
And then over the weekend, a little bit quieter, I think, after Halloween, but we do have a few things. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of the Chester County History Center's Chilling Westchester Dark History Walking Tour, this is the last week to do that, so sign up. I think there are a few more spots left. I know it was running really low. Saturday, those spots are at 11 a.m. and 1:30. There's a couple more throughout the week, so go to the Chester County History Center and check their website for that. And then also on Saturday is a fun s'mores fun with Troop 14. So this is a Boy Scout troop, but they've invited the community out to for an afternoon of fun, fellowship, and scouting spirit. It's over at Hoops Park. There's going to be fires, and they're going to roast s'mores and play games. It sounds like fun. So if you want to go, take advantage of that. It is a free event, but they are asking that if you can, let them know you might be coming. There is a link if you go to the website and you go to the events list. There's a link there if you want to take advantage of that. But
make sure to check that all out, and then also turn back your clocks this weekend.
Oh, that's this weekend too, huh? Thank you for the reminder.
It's all coming up quickly, the beginning of November. So, Cara, appreciate your time as always. You can find the newsletter, hellowestchesterpa.com. You can catch a podcast of this episode and every episode at 953wche.com on the podcast tab. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next time.